Everybody, welcome back for another episode of Titans Latest from the Fan Arch Network. As always, I'm your host, Brent Smith, back for another day of news and updates for you guys. I have been saying since I started this show that I wanted to have this show be something that I get you all the news and updates I'm bringing you. It's 4 topics a day in 15 minutes or less. If you've watched the episodes, you know that I've been struggling to get it to 15 minutes. It's usually been at least a couple more than that. So I'm going to move the goalposts a little bit and say now I want to get it to you in 20 minutes or less. So I'm going to try to get it around 15, aim for that. But if I go over, I don't want to just be somebody who's saying 15 minutes or less and never actually gets there. So I'll say 20 minutes or less, and hopefully I can get it closer to 15 for you guys going forward. So I have been a fan of this team, diehard fan of this team for 26 years. Love this team, love to talk about this team. I would be doing this knowing all these things that I'm sharing with you guys, I would be doing this whether I'm doing this show or not. So I might as well communicate to you guys in the hopes that it helps spread a little bit more news and information about the team that I love and that you love as well. And so that being said, let's go ahead and get into it for today. Thanks for joining me, guys. The first piece of news that I want to get to here is Kay Adams. I actually brought her up on yesterday's episode. She used to be a host on Good Morning Football on the NFL Network for a long time. Then they changed things up over there. She ended up leaving. She now has her own show on the FanDuel Network called Up and Adams, and it's a pretty good show over there. I've always liked her and appreciate what she does, how she does it. She's really good at what she does. So she has good conversations with players and brings them in for talking about different things that they have going on in their lives, and so she actually does updates and stuff as well. And she actually shared the other day that Cam Ward, she believes, our quarterback, second-year quarterback coming in, she believes that he will have a top 10 quarterback season for 2026. And I know that right now, in the midst of this week, we have a lot of conversation going on among fans and among news coverage and those kinds of things, a lot of talking heads, of which I am as well now. But a lot of people talking because he's had some inaccuracies and some down days at OTAs that have been going on. People are arguing right now that he's a bust. They point back to last season. They talk about that he didn't have a very good season last year. And we'll get into a little bit more detail about that here in just a minute as I read these things out. I've got a lot of information to get into and communicate to you guys from what she's had to say about Cam Ward and her thinking that he's going to be a top 10 quarterback this season. So, number one, she says that you can't teach what he already has. She talks about the traits that he has, the natural things, the giftings that he has. Some things are just innate. Some things you have to have to be able to be good at sports, to be elite at anything, and especially at the quarterback position. So she said he has the traits. He has rare throwing mechanics. He has a quick release. He can throw from different arm angles, and she put this out there. I'm not, but I've thought it for a little while. But she says the way that he has a quick release and he can throw from different arm angles is, to her, very much reminiscent of Matthew Stafford and Patrick Mahomes, who, as you know, are 2 of the best quarterbacks in the NFL right now. So not saying that he is that already, but saying that he does have these traits that lead you to think about those guys and how they play ball and how they play the quarterback position. And so, to me, I've been excited about having him as our quarterback since we started talking about drafting him last year, because I also saw those things in him and saw the ability that he has, the traits that could eventually get him to that point, which is exciting because we haven't had a really top-level franchise quarterback in a long time. Since Steve McNair. Yes, we had Ryan Tannehill in there for a while, but he was much more, in my opinion, a game manager kind of quarterback who really didn't have the ability, except for maybe once or twice, if at all, to really put the team on his back and carry them when they needed him to do that. And so Cam Ward, I see him as much more of that kind of a guy who's willing to do that, who has the ability to do that. And so she likened him to Stafford and Mahomes. She had Wandale on, which I actually just talked about yesterday on yesterday's episode. Wandale said that he's never had a quarterback deliver the ball that quickly. If you want to hear more about that, you can go check out her story, of course, but you can go and watch my episode from yesterday too. I did a whole section on that, talked about everything. I think it was yesterday. If not, it was one of my episodes from last week. But anyway, discussed that already. She said his arm talent, when you pair his arm talent with his accuracy, the sky is the limit for what he can do. And not just that, but the creative ability to extend plays and make crazy throws that most wouldn't attempt. If you remember last year, the highlight throw that I keep flashing back to in my own head, but that I'm seeing on social media shared a lot too, is where he had that throw to Alec Iomanner in the end zone against the Rams, I believe it was, who we were playing. He's scrambling, creating, trying to extend the play. He rolls out right. He spins, goes out right, almost, I think he's at the right sideline, and he throws it all the way across the field, across his body, which is a big no-no. You don't do that as a quarterback. He was able to pull it off and dropped it right in the bucket for Alec Iomanner to be able to get that touchdown. So that was amazing. That was one of those things that he did that we were super excited about, because he's giving us those things to see and to be excited about. Also, she says he makes it look routine. It's who he is. As I mentioned a minute ago, I wanted to get into this. People are saying that he had a bad season last year. Well, actually, the first half of the season was not great last year. I'll admit that. Anybody can admit that. But there were 2 seasons really that he played last year, because the first half was completely different from the second half. He is a rookie. He is, anybody that comes into the NFL as a rookie, it takes a while. It takes a while for them to just get comfortable, for them to figure out how it all works, to figure out what their rhythm and their learning and the routine needs to look like, and also for them to just let the game slow down a little bit and let the nerves go away to where they can really settle in and play good football. And so last year, I've got a graphic here that was shared on social media by multiple different people. This I just grabbed a screenshot from @TitanMatt_. So Matt, thanks for the screenshot, or thanks for the graphic here. But it says last year in weeks 1 through 9, Cam's completion and attempt rate was 170, 295. Pass yards was 1,760. Passing touchdowns, he had 5. Interceptions, he had 6. The times that he was sacked in those first 9 weeks was 38 times. And then fumbles that he lost, he had 5 of those. Okay, so those aren't great numbers, obviously. But then if you look at the second half of the season, the completion and the attempts actually went down a little bit, weeks 11 through 18, and the pass yards were down by about 300, give or take, to 1,409. But the pass touchdowns went up from 5 to 10. The interceptions went down from 6 to 1. The time sacked went down from 38 to 17, and the fumbles lost went down from 5 to 2. So about halfway through the season, he really found his stride. And so just to get into that information I just read you, the way she laid it out was, she said he had a bad season last year, but the second half equaled a 10-to-1 touchdown interception ratio, slashed his sack total the second half of the year by over 50%. And so he did a lot of really good things in the last half of the year, in spite of all the bad situation that he was playing in. An interim head coach, operating on, the second season of Brian Callahan and his offensive scheme and everything that they brought in that was just a train wreck. An offensive line who was struggling a bit, just all those different things. Wide receivers, Calvin Ridley was injured, and he was having to throw a lot to Iomanner and to Chimdike. So in the midst of all that, he still found his way, and he still did a lot of things that gave us hope that he can be really, really good for us, not just this year, but going into the future as our franchise quarterback for hopefully the next decade or more. On top of that, she said, plus Brian Daboll is running our offense now. He has a track record of getting the best out of dual threat quarterbacks, a match made in football heaven, and a nightmare for the rest of the teams that we play. If Daboll can do for Cam what he did for Josh Allen, 2022 Daniel Jones, Jackson Dart last year, the NFL has a problem on their hands. She said she reminded us that an average of 6 new teams make the playoffs every season compared to the previous season. She says that Tennessee is back in the mix in the AFC, and says she believes that we will be watching the Titans on Wild Card Weekend this coming January. What do you think? Do you believe? Have you seen enough from Cam to think that, or are you some of the doubters that see some bad OTAs and see the first half of the last season and think that he's a bust? I don't think he's a bust. I think that he's got everything that we need and that we want in a franchise quarterback, and personally, I love the guy. I'm so excited that we have him, and I can't wait to see what he does. But let me know in the comments and tell me what you think we're going to have this season and what Cam's going to do this season. Do you think he's going to be top 10 or worse? Do you think that we're going to make the playoffs or not? Let me know. Next up, I want to talk about what remains of our off-season schedule, because I myself haven't really seen many things posted about it, and I've been guessing a little bit when it comes to when to expect the OTAs to be happening and all that kind of stuff. And so if I'm guessing about it and I pay attention a lot, You guys probably are too. So, what to still look forward to in this offseason? According to Bryce W. Lazenby out of Sports Illustrated, sportsillustrated.com, says we still have more OTA off-season workouts. We actually have June 11th and 12th to look forward to for that. Now, the OTAs are voluntary. But then what we have on June 16th and 17th coming up soon is our mandatory camp on those 2 days. And so I just want to read you real quick in case you don't know what the mandatory minicamp is. I got this from the SI.com article that I was just referencing. Says mandatory minicamp, the dates June 16th through 17th. After the optional phase is over, all players are required to attend the mandatory minicamp on June 16th and 17th. These 2 days will be a little more involved and will give a sneak peek into what Brian Daboll's offense and Robert Saleh's defense could look like. This will also be a chance to see the draft picks in action, as well as to hear from the players after practice is over. Fans will be furiously refreshing X during these 2 days to see snippets of a Carnell Tate catch or an incredible throw from Cam Ward. So that just gives you a little bit more information about what the mandatory minicamp is going to be. And then we also, even after that, we have training camp. Now, the Titans still have not announced the dates for when their training camp is going to be this season, but historically it runs from late July through the end of the preseason. Several dates are typically open to the public, and this is when players have their final opportunity to make good impressions and earn spots on the roster. When I say players, I don't mean our draft picks from this year or Cam Ward, starting players like that. What I'm talking about is players that are a little bit older and might be starting to lose a little bit of their ability to be really effective, but they're still on the roster, that they may end up getting cut. Players that were undrafted free agents that we brought in this year that just don't make enough of an impression to stick around on the team and we let them go. Those kinds of situations. So those guys, it's their last chance. It's a last-ditch effort to at least make the practice squad if they can, just have a chance to hang on and maybe be able to do something mid-season or next season. But that's their last opportunity. So when those dates are announced, I will let you guys know. I'll make that a news topic on here for one of my 4 for that day and give you guys a heads up on the fact that is coming and when it's coming. And so that is that. Finishing out today, I actually wanted to get you updates on 2 of our rookies in OTAs so far, what's been going on. And so the first rookie I want to get to is Carnell Tate. There's been a lot of buzz out there about him. I'm sure you know who he is, but just to recap, he is our new anticipated wide receiver 1 out of Ohio State. He's a Buckeye. I'm a big Buckeye fan. Have watched him his entire college career. Love the guy. He's a really, really good, really solid wide receiver who I think is going to be really good for us for a long time to come. So all reports that I've seen have said that he's looking great at OTAs. Like everything is said that he's looking great at OTAs. And I mentioned before on one of the episodes, I believe, I get mixed up because I had to do some practice episodes to get ready for this too, that I had to prep for and do the whole show and then I never put out. And so if I'm referencing those and I do that, I apologize if it's not something I've put out. But I said in one of those or in one of my first ones that beware of the overhype that happens this time of year out of OTAs and out of camp as well when it comes. Mandatory minicamp and actual training camp. Because things get blown way out of proportion during this time every single year. They'll hype you up and make you think that we're going to win the Super Bowl. I was just talking about Kay Adams saying that Cam Ward's going to be a top 10 quarterback and that we're going to be in the wild card round this year. I don't know if that's true, but I know that things at training camp and OTAs and stuff get blown out of proportion. So let's keep our expectations a little bit lower. But everything that I have heard is that Carnell Tate is doing great. Now, but what I've seen is that he's looking really good, and there's no reason to believe that there's no reason not to believe the news right now that he's looking really good. Just beware of the hype. And I will say this too. Like I said, I'm an Ohio State fan. I watched him play his entire time at OSU, and he is legit. If you've heard rumor of an injury out there for him, that is true. They're actually, he did tweak something the other day. Says you may or may not have heard that he ended up a little banged up after snagging a touchdown catch in OTAs and missed the next day of practice. That is true. But it wasn't anything that was really, really a major problem here. So let me see here. I've got a graphic. Nick Suss, if you follow him, he's a great Titans follow on X at Nick Suss, S-U-S-S. He reported that Carnell Tate wasn't on the field for practice today. That was a couple days ago. But the expectation is that he'll be back by Thursday, today, and if there's no expectation, and there is no expectation that he'll miss minicamp next week that I was just talking about a second ago. So that's all good news for him. Moving on to Nick Singleton, I want to get to him real quick because there's been some really great reports about him. He's somebody else who I did some, I think, practice episodes on because if you're a Tennessee Titans fan, I think we all love the running back position because it's been such a key piece for this team for its entire history, most recently with Derrick Henry. And I am not saying that I think Nick Singleton is going to be the next Derrick Henry. I'm not saying that. Just by, saying that Derrick Henry was the last big piece that we had at running back. So anyway, Nick Singleton, he is our new running back out of Penn State. Want to give you guys this information on him real quick if you're not up to date. Jim Wyatt reported on Tuesday that rookie running back Nick Singleton has been getting more and more work at OTAs, which to me, I'm not surprised. I think that that we got a steal. Let me just read this to you here. I think that we got a steal on the guy. What are your thoughts on Singleton as well? Let me know in the comments because I'd love to see what you guys think. But interesting facts about him. He's 219 pounds. He reportedly ran a 4.35 40 time. While at Penn State, he broke Saquon Barkley's record for most career touchdowns with 55 in his career at Penn State. He also holds the record for most career all-purpose yards while at Penn State with 5,586 yards. Had he not broken his foot in the Senior Bowl, I've heard many reports that he probably would have gone a lot higher. I don't know if he would have been the number one running back drafted, but a lot of people said he would have gone a lot higher. And so we got him is great. We got a steal and possibly our new RB1 in the future with him, I believe. Once again, not saying I think he's going to be our next Derrick Henry, but I think that he has the potential to be another really good running back for us for years to come. And I also think that he has the potential to replace Tony Pollard this season if Tony Pollard starts to decline or if he gets injured. Tyjae Spears is still there. He's a really good running back too. I just don't see him. I guess that's two ways. He's a really good running back too, period. And he's also a really good running back too, as in also. But I don't see him. He's much more of a get the ball in his hands and let him be explosive kind of guy on third downs and things like that. I don't see him stepping into an RB1 role for us. Possibly he could. I'm not saying I'll be wrong about, or I won't be wrong about that. But I think that if anything would happen, you would see Nick Singleton possibly step into that running back one role, and Tyjae would remain where he is to keep the offense where it was already and just letting Singleton slide into that. But Tony Pollard, really good running back. I don't hate him at all. He's come in and been solid for us the last 2 seasons. He has had 1,000-yard seasons the last 4 seasons in a row, 2 seasons with Dallas before he came to us, 2 seasons with us in the midst of everything that's been going on. The guy's a really good running back, but getting a little bit older, 4,000-yard seasons means that he's getting, a lot of mileage on his legs and on his body. And running backs outside of Derrick Henry tend to really break down as time goes on. And so they tend to lose some effectiveness, lose some of that speed and twitchiness and power. They tend to have more injuries and things like that because their body's wearing down. And so I'm not saying I hope that happens to Tony Pollard, but I'm saying if it does, I think it's going to open the door for Nick Singleton, and he may not give it back after he gets it. So we'll see, guys. I'm excited for it. Let me know what you think about Nick Singleton, what you think is going to play out in the running back room this year. If you think Tyjae Spears would step into that running back one role if Pollard were to go down, let me know what you think. So, guys, that's all I've got for today. Hopefully, I've stayed under 20 minutes. I'm at about 19 minutes right now. And so, guys, once again, thank you, as always, for watching the show. Please like and subscribe here on YouTube. Share it with anybody who's a Titans fan that you think would like to get these news and updates every day. Follow me over on X at Ohio Titan. And outside of that, guys, thanks again for joining me today. I am Brent K. Smith on Titans Latest from the Fan Arch Network, and I will see you tomorrow.